Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Tabansi. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show. We cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a first perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have a very interesting show for you guys. But before we even get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you want to follow me on Instagram, my name is Charles Tabansi, handle CTABANZ. Also, follow Dreamerspro on Instagram, same name of the channel, Dreamerspro. And also make sure you check out the Dreamerspro podcast that we have pinned in the comment section below. Anyway, let me get into this topic here. This is a topic I am truly going to enjoy. Truly going to enjoy. Now, as you guys know, Stephen A. Smith is one of the biggest names in sports media. Some would say he is arguably the biggest name. Without a doubt, he is the face of ESPN, and he has been this for years, right? And he'll never let you forget that he has the number one show in the morning in the country in that category. So Stephen A. Smith is a big deal, one of the highest paid people talking sports in the world. Like he's one of the big dogs in the sports world. But a few years ago, he used to have a partner that used to work with him on ESPN First Take, and that partner was one Max Kellerman, right? Max Kellerman used to be his partner, and I believe they were partners for 5 years. And then I think back in 2021, the internet broke when we found out that Max Kellerman was being removed from ESPN First Take. A lot of us were trying to figure out at the time, what was the cause of it? What led to this? Blah, 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 blah. And then later we found out that it was actually Stephen A. Smith pushing for the network to get rid of Max. And he said this on Hot 97 and so many other different shows like that. So we found out, and Max ultimately went on to have his own show, an afternoon show, This Just In. And then ultimately, earlier this year, ESPN made a lot of cuts, and Max Kellerman was one of those guys that they let go of. So that was that, and we were all kind of reeling from that information. Then what happened? About a month or so ago, Stephen A. Smith went on the Joe Budden podcast. And during his sit down, they were talking about a range of things, arguing LeBron, Jordan, all of those different things. And then Joe Budden posed a question to Stephen A. Smith, which was, hey, Steve, what was the cause of your fallout between you and Max Kellerman? Then Stephen A. Smith goes into this long thing of, Max and I weren't just working. I was tired of the direction that the show was going in. We were beginning to ask ourselves, what qualifies Max to be commenting on sports? He doesn't have a journalism background. He is not a former athlete. So many people are beginning to wonder, why does he even qualify to discuss sports? And then he was saying that when we looked at focus groups, Q ratings, social media, he said I was up here. Max Kellerman was down here in terms of his ability to resonate with an audience. And a lot of us were like, bro, why are you doing this? Who asked you all of this? Right now, the guy is currently unemployed. And you said it in your own show that if the industry sees that Stephen A. Smith is second guessing to work with a particular person, then the entire industry will follow suit, because they were like, if he doesn't want to work with them, then maybe we need to think twice about us wanting to work with him. You said all of this. The guy is still without a job, and you're going on in this speech about why Max isn't this, isn't that, and all of these things. And a lot of us was like, yo, bro, why are you doing this? Why are you doing all of that? You're doing way too much. So what happened? Marcellus Wiley, who's a really cool dude. Shout out to Marcellus Wiley. He was a former partner with Max Kellerman on ESPN Radio back in LA a number of years ago. So him and Max have a relationship, a close relationship, because they used to work together. And he's someone that, in Max, is always someone he spoke very highly of. So Marcellus Wiley gets a whiff of these comments. And Marcellus Wiley now takes to his show, and he starts to explain where all of these attacks are coming from on the part of Stephen A. Smith, and basically saying that some of this had to do with intimidation and jealousy. So what we want to do is want to quickly play some of the things that Marcellus Wiley had to say in response to the comments that Stephen A. Smith made, and then we're going to come back and continue on with the show. Take a listen to what Marcellus Wiley had to say here.
And then I started to hear what was going on with my boy Max. So we went through the process. Obviously, he left, went back home, big homecoming, big show, making buku bread. I was like, dog, salute. And then I start watching, and then I start knowing what was really going on. Now, all of my intel doesn't come from Max. I'm just going to get that out the way. I'm going to preface it like that. Why? Because that ain't a good homie to put you always in a position where you got to talk about your situation. A good homie will also get it from everyone else in that situation. So I ain't got to put you in that bad place where you got to go to work every day and face your reality, which wasn't always a good reality. Let me take y'all behind the scenes because I know the people who helped construct that show. I know Max. I know Stephen A. Stephen A. wanted Max for very specific reasons. Now, I'm going to say these reasons, and everybody's going to have a reaction. He wanted Max first because he was white. He wanted Max second because he was intelligent. He wanted Max third because Max can speak on all things, including some things that even Stephen A. can't speak on if you really want to go there. Max's hip-hop knowledge is killing 99% of the people in this world. His boxing knowledge, etc., right? So he fills in the gaps, and also he's Max Kellerman, a white, intelligent dude. All right. Now, Stephen A. used to come on our radio show all the time when we were in L.A., so I know he was familiar with who Max was, but I don't think he paid enough attention because he got slapped in the face with who Max really is. And then y'all saw the awkwardness that ensued because Max all of a sudden couldn't be who Max really was. Let me take you through it. Stephen A.'s first take, the show wanted Max to speak for white America. That's that balancing act. You remember that model? It still exists, but it was really the model. Black, white, all right? We got, highbrow, lowbrow, right? Uptown, downtown, streets, boardroom, all those damn dynamics and contrasts that everybody was lazily just buying into. Especially when you lose Skip Bayless, you get Max. Now, it's not just Max speak for white America, but that would allow Stephen A., brother, get to speak for black America. Now we got it. And then Stephen A. felt like he was going to be the king, even though he was already on the best show, number one rated show, I should say, because I'm speaking for my people. Oh, how empowering. Not only am I number one, but I'm speaking for my people. Okay, now here's the problem. Stephen A., the entertainer, had to meet Max Kellerman, the educator. And boy, that was a class that had a different lesson plan. And that's what happened. That's how this all started. This all started from a guy who was so intelligent, it brought back some of those insecurities from Stephen A. And a guy who would not back down on those issues and actually outshine Stephen A. in the same issues that he wanted to conquer so that he could not only be the king, but also the voice of the people. It's facts. He got pushed out. Okay, Max ain't a journalist. Max ain't an athlete. Well, why the hell was I ear hustling, hearing you and them on the phone trying to beg him to come to New York to do the show? Did Max all of a sudden stop playing football that day? Was his NBA Hall of Fame speech, what? Well, it was weak. When was Max ever an athlete? When was Max ever a traditional journalist, even though he did his work? He put in work, dog. There was on New York Public Access and black and white channel. Dog, Max used to put in work. Stephen A. gets a salute from all, especially me, because I respect his work ethic. But right now, and a lot of people are seeing it right before our very eyes, no love and no respect for your ethics.
So you heard what Marcellus Wiley had to say. Fantastic. And these comments went pretty viral, right? And we covered them as well. So then what happens? Yesterday, I was going through the internet and a video was suggested to me, and it came from the GMS show. All right, I'm giving the credit. The GMS show. And it had the headline of Stephen A. Smith responds to the comments that Marcellus Wiley made. And I'm like, wait, what? Stephen A. Smith responded to Marcellus Wiley. I thought it was a joke. I didn't even think it was real. I'm like, when did this happen? So apparently what had happened was Stephen A. Smith went on the Breakfast Club and Charlemagne the God asked him to respond to some of the comments that Marcellus Wiley made about him. And to my surprise, Stephen A. Smith, well, not to my surprise, Stephen A. Smith then took it upon himself to basically go at Marcellus Wiley for basically saying the things that he had to say, especially the part about how Stephen A. Smith may have felt intimidated by Max Kellerman. So what we want to do is want to play what Stephen A. Smith had to say in response to Marcellus Wiley. Then we're going to come back and give you guys our thoughts. Take a listen to what he had to say here.
Now some weeks ago, something you said, what you said several times. You wrote about it in your book. You talked about, your experience with Max Kellerman working on the show. And I saw a reaction from Marcellus Wiley, and he said you got rid of Max Kellerman because Max wasn't dumb and white.
Okay. Well, let me say this. I'm going to address that last part. The first part, I'm not addressing it anymore, and here's the reason why. Some people want to do anything for clicks. Y'all don't have to do that. I don't have to do that. Established. But others have to do that. And so when you see there's the tsunami of comments and all of this other stuff, even my bosses called me. It was like, yo, man, it's in your book. Enough's enough. And I'm like, they're right. I had nothing to say about it anymore. The ratings speak for itself. The decisions that were made speak for itself. It is what it is. Business is business, period. In terms of what Marcellus Wiley said, now that I will address directly. And I only have one thing to say. He and I work together. Got a lot of respect for him. I know the man he was talking about as his best friend. I get all of that. No problem. Here's my only issue. For a black man to sit up there and say another black man is scared of somebody's intellect. Come on, bro. That's just the line you crossing. And I have nothing more to say other than that. That's sad that he would go that route. I guess that he's going to get attention because obviously everybody watches The Breakfast Club every chance we get, and he's going to see, talk about it. I'm certainly not going to argue with him. I've always had a lot of respect for him. Me and Marcellus Wiley have never had one issue. And I don't care what support he has for his boy or anybody else. I get that. I support my boys too. But I would never in a million years say that one black man is scared of the intellect of a white man.
Damn.
I would never, ever, ever do that. And for him to do something like that, that's on him. Y'all have known me for years. The business has known me for years. I've been on national television with the #1 debate show on television for the last 12 straight years and counting. I've been winning, but more importantly, I've been in a bubble, in the public eye, on national television every day. We've had disagreements, you know what I'm saying, the whole bit. Y'all have never questioned my intelligence.
No.
Ever.
Never. Yeah.
And so for me, it's like, I get it. I understand it. There's a lot of brilliant brothers out there. Max is one of them. Genius. Absolutely true. And a good brother too. Good dude, rather. And I get that. But to me, forget all that. I wish him nothing but the best. I ain't rooting against anybody. I'm rooting for him. I'm even rooting for Marcellus. I don't want him to fail. But if I ever saw him, again, one-on-one, it would be like a black man going in a public platform and saying another black man is scared
And not
of
as
a
smart as
white
the
guy's.
man.
No. Forget not as smart, because most people are not as smart as some other people, I guess. But that don't mean we're devoid of high intellect and intelligence. But to say that I fear the intelligence of any man, I've debated Dr. Michael Eric Dyson. I've debated Cornel West. You see what I'm saying? I've been on the phone with President Obama. I've debated political pundits, and I'm not even a political aficionado. We're talking sports, y'all. This ain't science class. This ain't, this ain't geometry or trigonometry or something. This ain't, we ain't in law school trying to pass the ball. This is sports. Scared of the intellect and intelligence of a white man. Okay.
So you heard his comments. Here are my thoughts. I've been saying this for, all these people covering this story. At a certain point, y'all gonna have to say Dreamerspro's name too. Everybody's saying everybody else's name except us. We produce these shows. They get hundreds of thousands of views. Nobody mentioning our name. I'd like for you guys at one point to mention our name as well. But anyway, because we mentioning everybody else's name. But anyway, I said it before and I'm going to say it again. If you notice, Stephen A. Smith is always in some beef. let's go through some of the names. Terrell Owens, was a recent. Terrell Owens, Marcellus Wiley, Dan LeBatard, LeVar Ball. Then, of course, you had Lonzo Ball. Then if you go historically, you have Kevin Durant. You had one athlete after another, after another, after another. Kwame Brown. All of these people have an issue with Stephen A. Smith. At a certain point, you got to ask yourself, who is the common denominator here? Who is the common denominator here? It's you. At a certain point, it can't be all of these people that are hating. It's you. You're the common denominator. And we now have to ask the question, why are you always the person in the middle? And the answer becomes simple. Because Stephen A. Smith be talking crazy about people. Willie D got some issues. Stephen A. Smith always talking crazy about people, man. Always. I am astonished that you're astonished at how people react to you. LeVar Ball goes on Vlad. He says you're fake. Why did the man say that? Because you went on your show. All Lonzo Ball did was respond to you saying the guy can barely stand up out of a chair. You go on your show on national television, scold the guy, then basically say you need to close your mouth, then go on your podcast, talk about the guy, then talk about, if you keep it up, I'm going to tell you the doctor that did the procedure, where you did the procedure, the day you... It's like, bro, why are you doing all of these things with all of these threats? You then turn around, you do the exact same thing to Terrell Owens, holding up a file. I mean, all I have is tissue in my hand, but the guy held up a file of all of these things that the guy did, like as if you work with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. You did that. Then you go on the Joe Budden show. They ask you, why did you have a fallout? You now start talking about how Max wasn't qualified and all of these different things. You do all of these things. Then Marcellus Wiley responds to the way that you were treating his former co-host. And all of a sudden, you're the one that's being attacked. You would never stoop. That is like, where's the self-awareness? You're not like an innocent guy running around here. Bro, you talk crazy about people. Crazy. You be frowning your face, twisting your face. You're acting like as if you're some nice guy. You're not. Like as if people are doing this to you. Like as if people are doing this to you. You're not like, oh my God, why are they doing it? You be playing a role in it. So I'm surprised that you feel this level of surprise. Number two, you then went on to say, oh, for him to say a black man will be intimidated by a white man. Bro, what? How in the good Lord's name did we bring this? How did race enter into this conversation? How did race enter into this conversation? And I'm even moving to my chair. If you're so preoccupied about the way a black man tried to depict you in the public forum, why are you the same one turning around, slamming black guys up and down the road? You're the one pulling out files on people. You're the one threatening to release people's personal information that they have with their doctors. You're the one threatening guys on TV. You don't want to make it. It's you, and all of these people are black. But now when somebody calls you out, now is how dare you call out a black man? So all of the stuff you said about Max was cool. All of what you said was cool. Marcellus Wiley said he was in the room when you guys called him up looking to get him. He said, oh, you guys didn't know that he wasn't a former athlete or didn't have a journalism background. Y'all didn't know it. So when did y'all figure it out? When did y'all figure it out? At a certain point, we got to hold up a mirror and look in front of the mirror and say, is there something I'm doing? Is there something I'm doing that's causing me to always end up in a friction with people? What am I doing? What's my tone? Stephen A. Smith amazes me. He really amazes me. Do you see your tonality when you speak to people and speak about people? How do you think people are going to respond? Now, y'all can act like as if we don't exist. I don't give a damn. We have 70 million views on this channel. Soon we're going to be getting 100 million. But y'all can act like we don't exist. Y'all can act like we don't have a name. Whatever, that's fine. We can all stick our heads in the sand and act like he's not really real. What I will not be is intimidated by these people financially and nothing like, because I didn't crawl out of a basket or a bucket over some sewer. So I'll never be intimidated by people like that. Never, ever, ever. God forbid. So to me though, however, somebody got to call it for what it is. They got to call it for what it is, bro. Like, you talking about how can he do it to a black man? Where did black come into all of this? And if you were so sensitive about how black men talk to each other, why are you over there talking greasy about all of these people, man, that are black? Why are you talking greasy? You the same one that called Lamar Odom a crackhead on TV. It was you. You called the man a crackhead on TV. You didn't know he was black? When you were referring to those Nigerian players' names and mispronouncing them mispronouncing them on purpose to get a laugh out of whites, you didn't know they were black. You didn't know they were black. I'll finish you in this video. Lucky I just want to catch myself. But now all of a sudden when somebody calls you on your BS, now all of a sudden you want to talk about, oh, how can you depict me in front of a black man like that? Would you be crazy enough to mispronounce those people's names if they were Jewish or from another ethnic background on television? You know good and well you wouldn't do that. But now all of a sudden you want to know about black. Oh, how can you do that to a black man? This dude is a clown. Straight up and down, he's a clown. He's a clown. You talk to people like they're nothing, even Vlad, who runs his own business. I'm not a defender of Vlad, but the guy said he met you at a party. He introduced himself to you where everybody covers. What kind of pompous BS is this? What kind of pompous BS is this? This guy acts like as if he runs a Fortune 500 company. What is this? For Marcellus Wiley to say all of that and say, Marcellus said the truth. You grimy, you be doing slimy things. You, not people doing it to you, it's you. The way you were talking to Max Kellerman on TV was effed up. It was. You were disrespecting a grown man with a wife, and that would have never been me. God forbid I'm gonna let a man talk to me on TV like, we're gonna go in the back room and we're gonna duke it out. You win, whatever, win, lose, or draw, you ain't gonna be talking to me on television. I don't give a damn about the job. You were the one doing that. Making it uncomfortable, talking to the guy like as if he was some little kid. It was you. You were the one making fun of Kwame Brown for how many years? Ask yourself, what am I doing? You're not an innocent party here. Look what you did to Kwame Brown. And to you, it's just all inbound. Let somebody have been doing that to you. All of a sudden now you want to cry wolf. Oh God, how are you going to do this to a black man? You have been flaming black dudes for decades. And now the chickens are coming home to roost. And now all of a sudden we all shocked. You're disrespectful. Period. You can never pull up an audio of us here cursing on our channel saying this. We don't do that. There's no need for it. Even when Jackie Long on Paul George's show, you now started insulting the guy. B-list and all of this and all of that. It was you. You're not an innocent party. Man, y'all better stop with this. This dude is too much for me. He is too much for me. I already told you, Stephen A. Smith, I come from a family, we did all right for ourselves. We see people like, I know people in my family will look at you and say, who is this guy? Please, get him out. I'm not interested in him. They won't be intimidated by your job on ESPN. Trust and believe. Big boys. And are way more down to earth than your ass. These are my thoughts. Whoever feel a type of way, they can feel a way. But I'm sick of this dude with this, man. I'm tired of it. These are my thoughts. Catch you on the next show. Peace.